mulatto fellow, who was found burying his rebel master after the fight, and being badly cut over the head, our boys brought him along. Will you have him?" "By all means, for I'll stand to my guns on that point as on the other. These black boys are far more faithful and handy than some of the white scamps given me to serve, instead of being served by. But is this man well enough?" "Yes, for that sort of work, and I think you'll like him. He must have been a handsome fellow before he got his face slashed, not much darker than myself. His master's son, I dare say, and the white blood makes him rather high and haughty about some things. He was in a bad way when he came in, but vowed he'd die in the street rather than turn in with the black fellows below. So I put him up in the west wing to be out of the way, and he's seen to the captain all the morning. When can you go up?" "As soon as Tom is laid out, Skinner moved, Haywood washed, Marble dressed, Charlie rubbed, Downs taken up, Upham laid down, and the whole 40 fed." We both laughed, though the doctor was on his way to the dead house, and I held a shroud on my lap. But in a hospital one learns that cheerfulness is one's salvation, for in an atmosphere of suffering and death, heaviness of heart would soon paralyze usefulness of hand if the blessed gift of smiles had been denied us. In an hour I took possession of my new charge, finding a dissipated-looking boy of 19 or 20 raving in the solitary little room, with no one near him but the contraband in the room adjoining. Feeling decidedly more interest in the black man than in the white, yet remembering the doctor's hint of his being high and haughty, I glanced furtively at him as I scattered chloride of lime about the room to purify the air, and settled matters to suit myself. I had seen many contrabands, but never one so attractive as this. All colored men are called boys, even if their heads are white. This boy was 25 at least, strong-limbed and manly, and had the look of one who never had been cowed by abuse or worn with oppressive labor. He sat on his bed, doing nothing. No book, no pipe, no pen or paper anywhere appeared, yet anything less indolent or listless than his attitude and expression I never saw. Erect he sat, with a hand on either knee, and eyes fixed on the bare wall opposite, so wrapped in some absorbing thought as to be unconscious of my presence, though the door stood wide open, and my movements were by no means noiseless. His face was half averted, but I instantly approved the doctor's taste, for the profile which I saw possessed all the attributes of comeliness belonging to his mixed race. He was more quadroon than mulatto, with Saxon features, Spanish complexion darkened by exposure, color in lips and cheek, waving hair, and an eye full of the passionate melancholy which in such men always seems to utter a mute protest against the broken law that doomed them at their birth. What could he be thinking of? The sick boy cursed and raved. I rustled to and fro, steps passed the door, bells rang, and the steady rumble of army wagons came up from the street. Still, he never stirred. I had seen colored people in what they call the black sulks, when, for days, they neither smiled nor spoke, and scarcely ate. But this was something more than that, for the man was not dully brooding over some small grievance. He seemed to see an all-absorbing fact or fancy recorded on the wall, which was a blank to me. I wondered if it were some deep wrong or sorrow, kept alive by memory and impotent regret, if he mourned for the dead master to whom he had been faithful to the end, or if the liberty now his were robbed of half its sweetness by the knowledge that someone near and dear to him still languished in the hell from which he had escaped. My heart warmed to him at that idea. I wanted to know and comfort him, and, following the impulse of the moment, I went in and touched him on the shoulder. In an instant the man vanished, and the slave appeared. Freedom was too new a boon to have wrought its blessed changes yet, and as he started up, with his hand at his temple and an obsequious "Yes, ma'am," any romance that had gathered round him fled away.